I want to share with you a theme that continues to repeat itself, not just in my life, but in your life and in every person that has ever walked this planet. Now, this thesis comes from observing the world, observing how the world operates, and as somebody who's been able to become extremely successful at a very young age, a lot of doors and opportunities and, mini games have presented themselves to me that the average person does not usually get to interact with. When you begin to make money, you have access to vices. When you begin to make money, you have access to temptations and distractions and things that are just there to pull you away from your purpose and focused in intention towards draining your energy. That's why they exist. And we can talk about these things. There's many elements of day-to-day society that drain us, and they don't, support our endeavors, and they don't push us towards becoming our best versions. And over the last couple of years traveling the world, I've been to over 35 countries. I became extremely concerned at observing a pattern that is natural, it's normal, but it's not being oriented towards the right direction that everybody seems to be falling for. And I want to share it with you. And it's the idea of chasing feelings and wanting to feel good. Wanting to feel good and chasing feelings and wanting to repeat experiences that were phenomenal are usually the reason why we do something. A person usually becomes connected with a substance because of the way that substance makes them feel. Yeah, it might be a coping mechanism for something deeper, but there's a feeling attached to that. People that like to, drink and go party, they are seeking that feeling, right? And it's not necessarily a bad feeling that they're feeling. What they're feeling is something that they enjoy. In relationships, it's the same thing. You go into a relationship because of how it makes you feel. That girl of your dreams, that guy of your dreams, they make you feel a certain way, and you're just enticed and attracted to receiving and being in that state or in that feeling. Like the state of being in love, right? You can feel love. You feel it through your body when you look at that person that is special, right? And that's a feeling, and you like to recreate that feeling. And what I came to realize is that as humans, we chase feelings. We want to feel good. We exercise because it makes us feel good. We exercise because it gives us confidence, because we like how we look, right? When we interact with foods, we like the way that they taste. When we interact with music, we like the way that it sounds. And when we go to nice places, we like the way things look. And this comes all through the senses. And through the senses, we get, feeling. So, as you begin to kind of spend more time in the world and you have access to more things, you get access to gratify your feelings and your desires more and more. And the world has taught us that gratifying these desires, or focusing on gratifying these desires, is the end-all be-all that manifests and translates to a successful life. And it's simply not the case. Number one, because it's really not that hard in 2025 to get access to basically anything in the world. You just have to actually work, try, be disciplined, form a new mindset, break away from your old patterns, habits, and behaviors, and become a new person. It's easy in theory. You just have to input the right amount of energy. But I'm going to show you how to do that in a different video. In this case, we're just talking about feelings and how does a person stay authentic to themselves while still being able to enjoy and experience feelings. First of all, is that feelings are also ranked, right? There's feelings that one should strive to feel more than others. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel pain, right? That kind of sucks. If you're a person that's wanting to feel these things, something's absolutely and utterly wrong with you. But usually we're chasing positive emotions. So we can already categorize feelings, right? So most of you guys are just walking in autopilot and allowing dopamine to control your feeling state. And you just play these cycles and loops because you don't know what feeling you're chasing, what feeling you should be existing in. And then 3, where can you actually find and maintain that feeling in perpetuity in a way that it's not costing you your family, your time, your future, like a lot of these other feelings do. When you go out and you get wasted, that there's a cost to that. And that's the second part about feelings, is that they're not only ranked by importance on how we want to feel, or how most of humanity desires to feel most of the time, which is usually towards bliss, happiness, satisfaction, peace, not feeling pain, but feeling pleasure, right? That's what we're looking for. And that's totally fine. We were wired this way. But that there's also a price to pay. To experience certain feelings, to dwell in certain actions, sometimes there's a price attached to it. And that's the second part of the ranking mechanism, is that it's not just what we choose to experience, but it's also what is the cost. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're expecting something in return, you have to give something. And many times these feelings that we chase, right? The feeling of being liked, the feeling of importance, the feeling of wanting to matter and be important, the feeling of wanting to be superior, drives us many times to do things that we wouldn't want to do. So the question is, this feeling that you're chasing, this habit that you're chasing that gives you that feeling, what is the price to be paid? I've seen many men fail and lose because of the touch of a woman. I've seen many men fail and lose because they allow money to control and dictate their every action. And when, like I said, you begin to make money and you begin to be successful and you have access to resources, all of these things open themselves up to you. And now you have to ask yourself, well, what is the highest feeling that I can feel, yet at the same time it not compromise or cost me anything? Right? So if there's infinite feelings that I can pursue, and I'm a person that's truly not addicted to a specific feeling, but I'm looking for the best state to be in, the question is, what is that state? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. So now that we've built the framework, let's paint on the canvas. And this is concept of pursuing the highest form and state of being, which will dictate your feelings, your emotions, your conditions, your mindset, and your state of existence in the present moment. And I've, through experimentation, and I have through spending time in benches in the parks, homeless, and in palaces with kings, that there are feelings that are above others, and that there are states that are above others. And I wanted to share with you one of these states that has radically transformed my life, that has radically transformed the way that I think, that I act, that I behave. And it's molding not only my future, but my present experience, which is truly what we only have. After experimenting with many things in life, due to access or also the free will and disposition to experiment with the things that the video game has to offer, I came to realize that it's not just the ranking of feeling. It's not just what does one compromise or what does one have to give up in order to have that feeling. But it's also how long can that feeling exist, which is also important. You want to be able to have a feeling that is not fleeting, because then you're always chasing it. If you're basking in it, then you're operating in stillness, which is in your nature as a person. So fleeting desires are no longer worth our time because they're basically compounding on sand. You know, a foolish man built his house upon the sand, but a wise man built his house upon the rock. So the question is, what is the rock? What is that foundation on which you build your state of being, which dictates your feeling? So we need longevity. We need something that doesn't cost us our soul and our time and our life. And we need something that is ranked at the highest order of desire. And I believe that I have found this thing. I believe that the greatest feeling that a person can operate in and be in is to be in tune, in relationship with, in submission and obedience to God. I believe that when a person operates in a state of being in which their desire is to make God happy and content and to be in order with Him is the highest feeling that one, purpose and feeling that one can exist in. Why? Well, because it ranks at the highest of orders, because it is free through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, and because it is eternal. So it is something that you can count on that is not fleeting. So why would I chase any other emotion or feeling or state when I have found an eternal state that is free and that is compounding in perpetuity and is the highest feeling and state that I can be in? So when I began to realize that it's merely a game of framing what is actually out there versus saying, oh, this is good or bad. I don't rank things by morality. I rank things by truth. And the truth tells me that to operate in this state is the highest state that one can operate under. So everybody that you see chasing money, no, they're not chasing money. They're chasing a feeling that is coming through the vehicle of money, or that is available because money is accessible. Men that are chasing women, they're not actually chasing women. They're chasing validation. They're chasing pleasure. They're chasing lust. They're chasing their touch. People that chase laziness are people that are chasing a feeling of lethargy and a feeling of apathy and a feeling of numbness. This is a real feeling. You see people do it with alcohol. You see people do it with drugs. So my question to you is, what state do you want to be in? And what state do you want to remain in? And what feelings do you want to have? I can tell you that getting to know God and to be able to experience God firsthand and to feel the presence of God is the greatest feeling that you can have. And if you haven't experienced it, it's not that it's not real, it's that you haven't looked for that feeling. And that feeling is the only thing that you can trust to determine whether something is true or not. Like, how do you know the love of God if you've never experienced it? How do you even know how to love? So my question for you is, in this game of life, what do you desire? In this game of life, what do you choose to focus on? And what do you choose to gratify?
We should check out this building. That's all I need.
You can choose to gratify the temporary things and
How
feel
many
the
hours,
temporary
bro?
things, and they're good.
I don't know. It was like spotting tickets having.
They don't last. They're like cheap imitations. They're not. There's always a catch to it. And anytime there's a catch to it, it becomes ugly. It becomes conditional. It becomes a trap. And we see it all around us. And I'm not an idiot to just fall into traps. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not just going to surrender myself and my will and my being over what I'm feeling. No. We're above that. Why? Well, simply not because we're great and we're human, but because we've been able to experience a greater feeling that allows us to know that the current feeling of instant gratification or the current feeling of basking in the things that of the world that are cheap imitations of what God actually wants for us. Promiscuity, alcohol, broken families, selfishness, greed, impatience, anger. All of these things, they're not of God. And if you're operating outside of the things that God wants for you, well, your life is going to be terrible. And my job is just to guide you towards a better life as best as I can with as little as I know. So that's today's data set. Love you guys. Peace.